Alright, so today we were learning about colonization of Georgia. What do we already know about colonization of Georgia? What can you tell me about it?
That was that they were making the last colony, Georgia.
Okay,
That Georgia was the
how many
last
colonies?
colony.
How many colonies were there?
13.
13. And who was the mother country for our colonies?
England.
Okay, what else do we know?
James Oglethorpe was the founder of Georgia.
Okay,
And so he went to the king to see if he could fund the trip to Georgia to try and make it a colony. And the king said he wouldn't, so he got 20 of his friends to help him, and they called them trustees.
okay, so the king said he would, but not to fund it. So I will authorize the colony, but I'm not gonna we're not gonna use our English money or my money as the king. I'm not gonna use my money to do it. So it's King George II that was king during the time, okay? All right, King George II, not the third, the second. Remember, King George III is the one who's during the revolution, so it's actually the king before him, okay? All right, anything else?
That the trustees
chose people
What
that were necessary to bring to the colony,
What did necessary in what way?
like jobs, occupations.
Okay, so,
that would help
the colony.
okay,
grow and be a better colony.
it would be prosperous?
Yes.
Yes, okay. All right, so what type of jobs did they look for? What type of occupations did they look for? What type of people did they look for?
Doctors,
Doctors,
nurses, blacksmiths,
Farmers,
hunters,
gardeners,
teachers,
priests,
parents,
Priests, religious
Silk-
leaders?
silkmen, men.
Okay,
butcher.
butcher? So do you think they had a lot of doctors?
Not a
No.
whole ton.
No, not a whole ton of them,
And
okay.
even with the doctors they had, it probably wasn't the best sort of doctoring.
Okay,
Because in that time they didn't know, like they knew how to do stuff, but they didn't know exactly what had to be done to make stuff.
okay, so we've chosen our occupants or our people that we're going to bring over, and they're going to come over on a ship, right? Because we don't have airplanes and stuff like that during that time period, right? So what you're going to do now is you are going to be the people that were chosen, okay? And they are coming over on a ship, so they're limited space. So each family got a trunk to bring with them. Now, the trustees provided seeds, tools for farming once they got there, food. They provided the first round of food and things once they were getting to the new colony. So you don't have to worry about the essentials as far as food, some tools, that type of a thing that you're gonna need. But what I want you to discuss as a group is what type of things would you bring to fill into your trunk to start, because you're essentially starting all over, right? You're starting a whole new life. If you've ever moved, right? You start a whole new life and you bring stuff with you. Well, today it's easy for us to bring large amounts of things with us, right? We can bring our furniture, we can bring our TVs, we can bring our, all of our clothes. But even when we moved, right, when my family moved, we downsized a lot of our stuff. We got rid of a lot. Have you all guys ever moved?
Yeah.
Do your parents clean out a whole bunch right before they move, right? Okay, so that we did that too when my family moved. So what I want you to do now is when you only get 20 or 20 items to fit in this trunk, depending on how big your items are, right? So to discuss as what would you bring as a family? Okay, go ahead and discuss it.
You might bring like things so you could grow food when you get there.
Well, no, the trustees already had the seeds and everything for the gardeners and people that would do that. So we wouldn't have to bring our own seeds and everything because the trustees had already had it there for it. I would bring like a pair of clothes, maybe some shoes, something that really means something to me.
A Bible or a book, maybe pictures.
Why? Why Bibles? Why books? Why pictures?
Because when
Because
you're on that
Bibles-
long ride, you're gonna have to do something for books, really.
And
Okay.
Bibles, a lot of people back then were really religious, and they were like, I don't want to like go through a storm on this ship and get like
Okay.
and die.
What are your pictures gonna look like? Are they gonna be like our
Black.
our pictures, like we can just snap? What are they gonna be?
They're,
Black and white.
they're gonna be black and white. There's just gonna be something.
What are they gonna be made out of?
paper.
Are they gonna be a picture?
Most likely
No.
a drawing.
They're gonna be a
Yes.
drawing or an oil or a painting of some kind, right? So they are good, you gotta be limited, cause are you gonna be able to paint, the portraits were bigger, but they did make some smaller portraits. But yes, family pictures, cause I don't wanna forget what my family was, right? I still want some of my own personal items, okay? Alright, those are good. So let's look at some of this. What kind of answer to this? What were the 5 items? Did you choose personal items or sentimental items?
Both.
Both?
Both.
Yeah.
Because I would take like my own clothing and shoes,
Okay.
but like I would take the picture that meant something to me or something that just meant really a lot to me,
Okay.
which would be the personal, and then the sentimental would be my clothes, my shoes.
Were there things that you would have brought that you had to leave behind? That you wanted to bring but you couldn't because you couldn't fit it in the
Yeah.
trunk? Like what?
Yes.
My dogs.
Your dogs. Okay.
Yeah, like your animals that you would have at home.
Okay.
Or like something big.
Like what?
So you could, like, I would want to bring something like,
Do you want to bring your own bed?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. Well, we couldn't bring our own
We
beds,
couldn't
right?
bring our own bed because one, it definitely wouldn't fit in the trunk.
Right. Okay.
And two, there's not enough space on the ship, and it's really heavy to just walk around with a bed.
Right.
And,
Right.
and if your trunk was big enough, it would be way too heavy.
Okay, awesome. All right, so here we have what the trustees agreed to versus what the columnists agreed to. So the trustees said, we will do this, but you have to agree to certain terms also. So what are some of the things that the trustees said that they would do?
Transport colonists to the new colony.
Mm-hmm.
Provide 50 acres of land and tools to help that land.
Right, they
and
wanted
gardening
Georgia
and
to be an
everything.
agricultural colony. So what they did is they designed Savannah. Savannah is the very first city in the state of Georgia, okay? And what they did is they designed it so that people would live in town, but then so they had like a small plot of land in town that they would live on, but then they would have 50 acres of land farther out that they would use
For
for gardening and farming. 50 acres is for us is a pretty big amount, right? Okay, when you're farming large scale, 50 acres is a smaller area, but it's still enough that they were starting to do this, okay? What are some of the things that the colonists agreed to?
Defend the new colony against enemies.
Okay, so Georgia is the southernmost colony, okay? Florida at the time was occupied, does anybody know who Florida was? The Spanish, okay? So Florida at the time was occupied by the Spanish. So South Carolina was up and going, right? South Carolina was very prosperous. It was an agricultural colony. They wanted to put what was known as a buffer between Florida, Spanish Florida, and South Carolina. So Georgia was what we call the buffer zone for defense. So they had to defend against the Spanish, okay? If the Spanish were ever to attack. What else did the colonists have to agree to?
They decided that they wouldn't sell or borrow money on land given to them, but they could pass on land to like their
Their heirs. So what does that mean though?
It means that they wouldn't sell or like borrow the money that people gave to them. They wouldn't sell or borrow it, they would give it immediately to their higher.
So as a trustee, I'm giving you this land. You can't decide, okay, I'm not gonna farm it. You can't decide I'm not gonna farm it and I wanna sell it. You're going to have to farm it. You're going to have to keep it in your land, in your family, okay? When you die, you can pass it down to the next one, okay? And this is how Georgia started. This is what they agreed to. They had to sign a contract with Georgia, with the trustees before they got here, and they put them on the boat and they came and they started the city of Savannah. Sound good? Okay.